Oh my
Welcome,
God.
everybody, to another goddamn horror podcast. I'm your host today, Jonas. And today we're doing another one of our extreme horror Patreon Army of the Goddamned, week early exclusives. And yeah, so if you're part of the Patreon, you get these a week early before they go on to our YouTube video void. And it's just a series where I am talking to guests, both former and new, about different extreme horror movies. And sometimes me and the other hosts. The last one was with Graham when we talked to Mary Beth McAndrews. We talked to her about the movie Hard Candy, which is whew,
Ooh.
that's Hard Candy is a weighty film, but we had a really good talk about that one, so that was cool. And then today, we have a guest here today it's a return guest from our live show that we did at the Altercation Fest in Austin, Texas, at Kick Butt Coffee, and she is one of the coffee tenders, however you want to say, plus you can
Yeah,
find her there. She's there to
yeah.
help you out there. Also one of the heads of the Austin Ghoul Gang, which is a conglomeration of horror friends based out of Austin. We have Alyssa Miller. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Yeah. So, I actually want to talk about the Ghoul Gang first. How'd that happen? Like, how'd you decide to do that?
One of my best friends and we both went through some pretty traumatic shit of our own,
Mm,
not together, but like separately.
individually, yeah.
And we decided that it would be most productive to have a night where we watch some movies, cook dinner, and just hang out.
Nice.
And then when I started telling other people about it, they were like, "Can I come over?" And I'm like, "Sure." And then it turned into our whole living room stuffed full of people.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then it COVID happened, of course, and then we couldn't do it anymore. And then I was like, "What if we, like, took it a step further? Did, like, screenings and stuff like that?"
Yeah, so you guys have actually done screenings at Kickbutt, right?
Mhm.
That's where you do them?
Yep.
So I've seen occasionally like ones that have popped up like that. And I think that's cool. It's one of the things I love about the horror community is that like we really are all in this together. Like
Mhm.
pretty much everybody that's a horror fan was at one point one of the outcasts, one of the, like one of the kids that had their
Oh, yeah.
own, their own little groups, they had
Yeah.
their own people, and we talk about this at the end of every episode, but like we truly do need each other. So like that kind of community that I think comes out of the horror horror industry and out of the horror fandom I think is really cool. So I think it's great that you guys do that in Austin. And yeah, Kick Butt Coffee's awesome. It's such a cool place because I remember when I'd first heard about it through Altercation, I was like, "We're doing it at a coffee shop? Like, all right."
Yeah.
And but then you get there and you're like, "Oh yeah, like this is a coffee shop, but also it's like an event venue and it's like all this other cool stuff." So you guys have a really cool thing going on there.
I love it. I've worked there for 11 years now.
Yeah, I mean that's like a lot of people don't stick with a job that long, especially if
Yeah.
they don't like it. They're not sticking around.
Especially
So
service industry, you know?
yeah, absolutely.
So,
So the movie that we decided on today, which is just a little look behind the curtain, it's like lunchtime right now, and we're talking about this movie. So the movie that we decided on for this one is a classic tale of the wonderment and innocence of children.
yeah.
We were talking about Eden Lake. So Eden Lake, if you guys are not familiar with it, is so it stars Michael Fassbender in one of his first like major roles. Stars Kelly Riley, um, and a bunch of really fucking asshole kids. And like I know they
Those
have
kids
names,
suck.
and yeah, but like I'm sorry, these kids are shitty beyond shitty. Like you would wish for a kid that was crying on an airplane if you encountered these
Yeah.
kids. Like these kids are assholes. And the basic story of it is that Michael Fassbender and Kelly Riley go out to Lakeside to have a date, which is like, supposed to be an important date. It's a big date for them. They kind of are getting
Yeah.
away and they encounter these kids that are also there making a bunch of noise. and Michael Fassbender uh, gets real old white guy on the lawn about it, tells him to quiet down, uh, tells them to quiet their dog down, and like, we're trying to have a good time over here, and blah, blah, blah. And these kids are not having it. They're like, cool, buddy, fuck you. Like,
Yeah.
they're just like very much that attitude. And then shit spirals. So as with a lot of like horror movies, it's a little thing that turns into a big thing, and then it turns into a much bigger thing. Um, so I had asked you this before. When was the last time that you had watched Eden Lake prior to last night?
So I don't actually remember the last time I watched it. I tried to get my fiance to watch it with me, and he was like, "What's it about?" And I was like, "Never mind. We just won't watch it."
Not a good date movie. Not a good
Yeah.
date movie.
I mean, I got Eden Lake back in 2012 at a Big Lots
Oh wow.
along with Inside
Holy shit.
and Martyrs.
Wow, Big Lots.
I know.
Pulling out the big guns of like just bleak
Teenage
horror.
no, I was like 20. I was in my early 20s. I was like, "Hell yeah."
Yeah. I mean, if people don't know about Martyrs and Inside, that was part of that whole French extremity movement that
Mhm.
happened. And like you got Martyrs, you got Inside, you got Frontiers, which is another one that's fucking crazy. Martyrs is like the top. Like Martyrs is the
Yeah,
one like if you want to fuck somebody's day up, probably somebody's week, if not their month up, tell them to watch Martyrs. Like that's
yeah,
the one. It's just like ugh. Um, and then like French extremities also like Gaspar Noé and stuff like that. So you have
yeah.
these high tension or haute tension uh, is another one that's in that same vein. But Eden Lake is interesting because like it's brutal, but not in the same way that Martyrs and Inside are, because like those are
Mhm.
super gory, like, and they're like brutal in that sense. And then Eden Lake has some gore, but like the gore that's in it is not the point. Like there's not
Yeah,
it's not supposed to visually be one of those things where like when you watch it you're like, "Oh, that's what's making me uncomfortable" or whatever. It's like that's a little bit of it, but
mhm.
it's what these kids do to Michael Fassbender and Kelly Riley that is really like the kind that's just like it makes your skin crawl.
Yeah,
Like, man, it's tense. That's the other thing that's good about it is that like the tension in it is very good. Like it's good buildup of tension. Whoever these children are, they're very good actors,
yeah.
and they really ramp it up. So when you watched it last night, what thoughts did you get out of it? Out of this, out of this second viewing?
So, I actually, took some notes.
Nice.
Um, I saved that it was cruel, brutal, unforgiving, and relentless.
It's definitely all of those things.
Yeah.
It is definitely all those things.
I also thought it was a little interesting, um where is it? I thought it was interesting to kind of attach the movie to the cycles of violence in different communities, especially, like, lower income communities, because it seems
Sure.
like that's like, kind of like a I hate to say white trash, but they seem like they're white trash.
No, but yeah, it's. I mean, it's a common term, and I think when you say that, people know what you're talking about. Like, it's got,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that seems to be what the family is, what that family dynamic is, at least when
Mhm.
you finally do get to see the family. Which that's the other thing about this movie is that it goes from being this like romantic thing between Kelly Riley and Michael Fassbender, and then there's like the little conflict where it's like you boys shut the fuck up. We're trying to have a nice time over here.
Yeah.
And then the escalation of it, which by the way, for all of these episodes, if you're not familiar, there will be spoilers aplenty. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So if you haven't
Glad I
seen the
can
movie,
talk about
yeah.
that.
If you haven't seen the movie yet and you want to and you don't want spoilers, cut this off now. Go watch the movie, then come back.
Yeah.
Um, but then yeah, so then it escalates and it becomes a thing where like I think at first the kids were just shitheads, but then
Mhm.
when they kill the dog, then it
Yeah.
becomes like, "Oh, you killed our dog? Now you're fucked." Like,
Yeah.
and that seems to be a catalyst in a lot of movies. You got John Wick, who has now made 4 movies about "you killed my dog,
There's
and now
4
I'm
movies
gonna."
about this fucking dog.
Yeah. "You killed my dog that my dead wife gave me, so now I'm gonna kill everybody across all these continents." Which, listen, I love my cat. If somebody fucked with my cat, I can't say that I wouldn't have that bloodlust. But
Same.
so these kids go from being like, just assholes to being straight up psychopaths. Like, especially the main kid. The main
Right.
kid is vicious.
Yeah.
And even like the other kids, some of them are even like, "All right, dude, like you're taking a little far." And then he
Yeah.
becomes, like that alpha shithead of the group that's just like, "No, you're gonna do this, or I'm gonna do this to you."
Yeah.
Like, it becomes that thing. So, well, I talk about this movie being bleak, but what'd you pull out of it as far as like the, thing that you were talking about, like with the upbringing and with like the, the class divides and stuff like that?
So, um, I also brought up I also had another thought when I was doing it that's kind of related to that,
Yeah.
and it's how children are punished in our justice system.
Okay.
Because a lot of people are like, "Oh, life imprisonment shouldn't be a thing." But then I'm like watching this movie and I'm like, "Holy fuck," you know, this is
Yeah.
not someone that should see the light of day. I don't care how old he is.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
It
Yeah,
is
I
an interest
just
it's an interesting take on it because if you look at the psychopathy and like the, the stuff that that happens with kids in other movies, like the one movie that I know I'm going to end up talking about on this series is We Need to Talk About Kevin. Like, that's another
ooh.
one where it's like, that well obviously very dark, very bleak, but also that's another one where you kind of look at Kevin and you're like, I mean, like, probably shouldn't be seeing the light of day, you know?
Yeah.
And I agree with you when you look at these kids like the the scope of what they do to
Mhm.
Michael Fassbender and Kelly Riley, the scope of what they do is not something that would be done just by a kid who's acting out, not just by a kid who's just, having a bad night. Like,
Yeah.
it's not one of those things. Like, this is like full on, like, clinical psychopathic behavior.
Mhm.
And that kind of gets confirmed at the end of the movie because after this whole thing, like after everything happens in the movie and you get to the end, which, again, spoilers, like
Yeah.
both of them die. Like Kelly
Yeah.
Riley and Michael Fassbender die. But then after Kelly Riley is killed in the house, in the
By
family
the
house,
parents.
yeah, by the parents, the kid just goes up to his mirror, looks in the reflection,
Puts on the
makes, yeah,
sunglasses.
the sunglasses come
Ah!
on, and you're just like, okay, like this is definitely an argument to be like, yeah, like if there's any kind of a kid that should be going to jail, tried as adult, like and
Yeah.
all that stuff, like this is that kind of kid. Um, so yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a good commentary on it, and also like the family dynamic thing, because the family's fucked up too, you
Yeah,
know.
it's definitely those cycles of violence that just keep,
Mm-hmm.
continuing on in different family dynamics, you know?
And I
'Cause
yeah, and I
he even hits the kid.
yeah.
He's like, "Get out of here, we're gonna kill this bitch over here," and then that's when he goes upstairs and puts the glasses on, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, well, that's where he gets it from, you know?
Yeah. It's generational trauma and it gets passed down.
Mhm.
And I've seen a lot of movies that have generational trauma like, explored in it, and it's not usually within like this kind of an extreme horror scope. It's usually
Yeah.
like through either like a drama or a thriller or, a horror movie that's maybe a little less extreme than this one.
Yeah.
Um but talking about the extreme stuff, so like we skip to the end, you see like this kid goes back to the family, and once they figure out that Kelly Riley is one of the people that was responsible for the death of one of the other kids, you
Mhm.
know, that's when everything else like everything falls apart and she gets killed and this whole thing happens. But prior to that, like the way that this movie broke down and the way that this movie like escalated was kind of a that was a interesting thing for me to watch because like I'm watching it also as somebody who's like now I'm watching it a second or third time or however many times I've seen it, and I'm kind of
Yeah.
like looking at it critically as opposed to, you know, like what I've already seen before. And this movie to me is one of the best uses of tension escalation.
Oh,
You,
agreed.
like you know that something bad's going to happen when he mouths off to the kids.
Yep.
Just by the way they act. You're like, "Okay, something's
Mhm.
going to go sideways." And like if you walk into this movie blind, I will give credit where credit's due. The cover does kind of give you at least an idea of
Yeah.
like how dark it's going to be, but I don't think
Mhm.
it gives you necessarily an idea of how graphic it's going to be. And it's not gratuitous graphic. It's
No.
like it's very based in realism,
Yeah.
which I think is much more effective. Um so what did you like about the movie?
So I really liked obviously the acting on all ends. A
Mhm.
plus. You know, everybody gave such a convincing performance, including the kids, which is sometimes,
Yeah,
hard to
child actors are not great sometimes.
yeah. Um I also really liked how Jenny, the female's character,
Mhm.
how we got to watch her survival instinct develop so quickly.
Yeah.
Because she goes from being like just this teacher to like, to kind of being like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't want these kids around to like,
Hulk
oh,
smash.
yeah,
Yeah. She did too because she built up from like being almost bubbly to
hmm
like annoyed. But then she went from annoyed to as soon as this became a survival situation, like it did kick in quick. Like
yeah,
that primal urge of protection and that primal urge of like survival
hmm
really did kick in. And um you can tell me if you agree with this. I think it was cool that this movie took Kelly Riley as like the quote unquote final girl type of character, but they gave her the majority of the screen time of the
yeah,
survival. So like Michael Fassbender, who we all know is a fantastic actor, but
yeah,
this is like one of his earlier movies, and I think the kids killing him early on in the movie, like it's
hmm
right about like maybe the halfway point that they kill him in brutal fashion. Like,
yeah,
you know, they have him like tied up with barbed wire. They stab him, like they beat the shit out of him. They do all sorts of stuff.
yeah. They
Uh,
light him on fire too at one point.
cool. Yeah. And like, so you have Michael Fassbender dying pretty relatively early, and then the rest of the movie is It holds on Kelly Riley's shoulders for the most
Yeah,
part, you know,
hmm
because she's playing the survival one now. And I think that them doing that is not something that a lot of horror movies do because like they'll do the final girl thing, but not in like these types of movies where it's the extreme, you know, the more extreme styles. Because this is not
hmm
really a slasher. It really
No.
is, you know, definitely like a survival horror. Do you think it was like a good thing that they put the movie on her shoulders and had her be like the showcased one of the survival and of that fight?
Oh, absolutely. Especially since a lot of, violence in regards to like random violence, a lot of times it is more aimed at women.
Hmm.
So it's a little more realistic in my opinion that they put it on her rather than like, I'm the man. I saved the day. It's like, no, no you didn't. you
Not in this
know,
one.
you nah, not this time.
No.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I think that's I don't know if it was a conscious decision by the, you know, the writer or anything like that, but if it was, I think it was the right decision.
yeah,
And for anybody that doesn't know who Kelly Riley is, like she's a great actress, but specifically in this movie, this is like, you know, the acting in this movie is top notch. Like it's,
hmm
you know, it doesn't suffer from a lot of the things that extreme horrors do where you get like the the shoddy acting or like the shoddy effects or like something like that. Like
Yeah.
just, the independent movie things that happen unfortunately. But no, she kills it. She absolutely is fantastic. And I think like with a movie like this, you are putting a lot on a person's shoulders when it's only a small cast like this one is.
Yeah.
And I don't think they could have casted that better. I think she did such a good job. And so I want to talk about the violence in this one because from what it seemed like on the rewatch, the violence that was there, the majority of it was directed at Michael Fassbender.
Yep.
And they're really like, even after he's dead, there's not a particularly large amount of violence that is directed towards her. Because at
Yeah.
that point, it becomes a survival thing as opposed to an attack thing, as opposed to like an actual torturous thing.
Mhm.
So this feels like a conscious decision by the director to me, or like by the by
Yeah.
the filmmakers,
Mhm.
because the kids like there was definitely like misogyny, there was definitely some shitty things like that, but like not in the same way that I see it in a lot of movies where it's
Yeah.
like all this vitriol is like directed towards the woman, whereas like the majority of this was almost like it was almost like kids that were bullied beating up the bully.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because like he was the dude that walked in there and tried to be all like fucking alpha male with him and tell him to shut up and like I'm trying to have fun with my wife and like, blah blah blah. And then these kids turn around and become, these vicious, like torturing shithead children, at least a couple of them. There's a couple of them that weren't into it, but
Yeah.
so that's the energy it gave off to me. Do you think that did you get that out of it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. It was something I just noticed because I think like again with these movies you don't see that a lot. You don't see a lot of times where you get like the kid that's giving off the bully energy. You don't get to see it a lot where they get to be the ones that become the antagonists, but even at the same time, like it's weird because when you watch it, you kind of do see that side of it from the
Mhm.
kids where it's just like, "Oh, you're going to fuck with us?" Like, "No, like we're going to fuck with you." But then they take it like way too far. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like it's a lot more than just slapping them around. Like,
I think the biggest betrayal that I felt in that movie was the part with the kid. I don't remember his name. The kid that was collecting bugs at the beginning
yeah,
and how he like leads her into that area and he's like, "My mom's going to come and pick us up." And she's like, "I thought your mom was working." And then all these kids show up and she just looks at him and he's just like,
yeah.
you know.
Which I didn't expect that from his character.
I
Like
didn't either.
and I
Not
think
at
that
all.
there was like, there's a lot to be said about twists in a movie, and I think like a twist like that is more effective to me than like, like some crazy like M. Night Shyamalan twist or something like that. Where it's just like, oh, I thought you were gonna be the kid that was the good one. You're a dick.
Yeah.
Like,
Like you really
that
think these kids are going to be your friend just because of this?
right.
And that's something you realize as an adult, but you don't realize that when you're a kid because you just want to be accepted.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also something to talk about too here because there's a couple of kids on it that are not into what this main kid is doing. Like
Yeah.
they're kind of telling him like he's going too far and like he's not like he needs to stop and all this stuff. But that main kid lures him back in, and I think a lot of that has to do with the acceptance thing.
Yeah.
Like these don't feel like kids that have a lot of friends. These feel like kids that are only friends with each other
Yeah.
you know? So you have that whole dynamic of wanting to still be a part of that group, even though the main person in that group is doing some particularly shitty things?
Mhm.
And I think that's something that kids grow up with, like in general?
Oh, absolutely. When I was in junior high, I had like 4 friends, and I mean, I've look at me, I've looked like this my whole life. You know what I mean? So,
I grew
like,
up in a town I grew up in a town with shitty kids and like
oh, yeah, we definitely had we were not the shitty kids. To be clear, we were not the shitty
right,
kids, but
right.
we knew a lot of the shitty kids. So,
Yeah, the groups that I ran, like this is interesting side story to this. So when I was growing up, I grew up in a pretty small town. It's
mhm,
Yakima, Washington, It's not like super small, but it's smallish. And it's like this town in a valley, like in the middle of eastern Washington. And I grew up with a lot of people. Like I had a lot of I always say that like my friend circle is small, but my acquaintance circle is gigantic. So I
Yeah.
had like so many people that were acquaintances, and then I had people that were on like the football team or the weightlifting team or like whatever part, whatever
Mhm.
thing I was doing. So I had that core group of friends too, and it was always a thing where I would like look. This is as I got older, closer to graduation, and I would look around at the people that I used to hang out with, and I could always be like, that guy's probably gonna go to jail. Like
Yep.
that guy's probably going to do this, that, or the other thing. And like, it was one of those things where, like, in hindsight, at the time, I felt bad. In hindsight, I was like, oh, I was right. Like, I was right about most of these people.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And I heard a story about one of the guys that I used to be quite good friends with. And I found out that he had gone to jail, and I looked into it and I was like, I wonder why he went to jail. He went to jail because he murdered somebody with a hammer. Like, it was crazy.
Oh
Like,
my god.
yeah, dude, he broke into somebody's house, and this was a meth crime. He broke into
Yeah.
somebody's house, he was methed out of his head, and there was two old people home, and he killed them with a fucking hammer. And I was like, okay. Now, when I'm looking at it, the reason I'm bringing this up is because this relates to the movie.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, he was the leader of the friend group.
Mhm.
He was the asshole, but also he was the one that was really popular. So a lot of the friends that were in that group were followers. They were the ones that were like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I gotta be friends with." His name's Kevin
Or
Harper. He's a piece of
else.
shit. Like I'll fucking
Yeah,
throw his
fuck
name out
'em.
there. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like they were always like, no, Kevin's the popular kid. Like, we gotta hang out with Kevin. We gotta be seen with Kevin, like that type of thing. And
Mhm.
this movie reminded me a lot of that because when you see what happens to Fassbender and Riley, this kid clearly has done this before.
Yeah.
Like this is not a first time crime, you know?
Because kids don't think to implicate everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
'Cause he does that. He's like, "No, it's your turn to stab him. She's recording, it's on her phone," and kids don't think like that when they're first doing things like this. You know what
yeah.
I mean? They're not like, "Let's implicate everybody so we'll all be in trouble," like
He turns them all into an accomplice in some
yeah.
way. So no matter what happens, and also like when one of the kids, I can't remember which one of them was says it, but like one of the kids straight up says like I have to tell the police or something like that, and he was like, really? Like because you did this,
Mhm.
it's not just me, you did this too. We're all in this together now. And I've seen that happen in some movies for sure, but I think with this one, you've got like two different kinds of brutality going on. You got the physical brutality of the stuff that they're doing to Michael Fassbender, and then you have the mental brutality of what this kid is doing to the other kids. So you've
Yeah.
almost got like two separate movies going on, where you got the psychological aspect of it of what he's doing to his friend group, but then you have the physical brutality of it that also has the, a little bit of that psychological thing going on too.
Yeah.
Um, because this is a weird way to say this. Sometimes when you look at a movie that is quote unquote torture porn, sometimes it feels like it's going through the motions and it's not
Mhm.
necessarily something that looks like it's it doesn't look like it's how do I it doesn't look like something that the person cares about too much. Like they're just
Yeah.
doing it. Like they're just doing it to make the
Yeah.
person scream whatever. Like, and then you have like Saw where it's like a fucking, like multiple traps and like different shit like that. That's different. But like when it's
Yeah.
something like say Hostel or like, sometimes there's a movie where a person's like a psycho or a crazy person, but they're not giving it their all. They're kind of just putting it through the motions. Whereas in this one, like the kid relishes in what he's doing. And it's like real torture, you know?
Yeah.
The stuff that he's doing is like again the barbed wire, the stabbing, the fucking burning, the everything like that. So like this kid's like really in it, and I
Yeah.
think that was one of the things about the movie that made it stick so hard is that the performance done by the kids of being that fucked up, like that was very impressive to me. And I
Mhm.
think that has something to do with the director too. I mean, you can only have, especially with children actors, like you have to be a good director to pull
Yeah.
those performances out of them. But like that's the part that made my skin crawl the most. Like the kid was like relishing in, this kind of, brutality. Um and that happens in the midpoint of the movie,
Yeah.
which I thought was an interesting choice. Because you have the stuff that happens in the middle of the movie, so it sets you on the rest of the way. Like at that point, you're not only invested, but you're wondering where the fuck this is gonna go.
Yeah.
And it's not, I can't think of another movie. Like I've watched a lot of extreme horror movies. We've had this conversation too.
Oh, same. Yeah.
And I can't think of another movie where they've put that kind of I mean, for lack of a better term, that kind of a torture scene being like,
Mhm.
because that's like a tent pole scene in the movie. I can't think
Mhm.
of another extreme horror movie where it's done in the middle like that, and then just kind of gives you the rest of the movie to kind of relish in it.
Yeah.
Because from that middle point on, there's not a whole lot of torture stuff.
No.
There's not, like it's just mostly her trying to get away, and at that point, it becomes like more of a psychological, like
Mhm.
running away from the attackers type of thing.
Yeah.
Was there anything in the movie that you didn't like? Did you note anything down that like was a turn off for it?
Um, I didn't write anything down. This is a movie that I enjoy. I've seen multiple times and I've actually recommended to a lot of people.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't really have a whole lot of complaints if I'm telling multiple people to watch it.
For sure, no, that's a good thing. And the
Yeah.
reason I asked is because I don't have any. Like
I don't
as I was
either. I
like
can't
really
think of
as I was going
anything.
through it, I was really trying to think of it because I always try to approach these things like I wouldn't even say as critical as possible, but I try to approach these things, especially with extreme horror movies, with a grain of salt because
Mhm.
sometimes I'll watch an extreme horror movie and it's like a B movie and like I understand that it's like so bad that it's good, or it's like got a indie movie quality to it that you kind of have
Mhm.
to like be a niche fan to enjoy or something like that. This one I really can't think of anywhere that any fat needs to be trimmed. I can't think of anywhere that they could have done something different to make it a more effective movie. The
Yeah.
twist at the end is done very well, like
Mhm.
that she ends up going to the house. The effects, like, because it wasn't an expensive movie, it was still technically an indie film. The
Mhm.
effects were fantastic. Like
Yeah.
the
Very
realism,
practical.
yeah, the realism with the practicals, I think was one of my biggest like pluses on the movie is
Mhm.
because all of it looked grimy. It looked, for lack of a better term, it looked extremely realistic.
Yeah.
You know, which I mean, obviously they're not doing anything that's like, again, like we were talking about, like Saw. They're not taking off limbs and shit like that, but like, you could feel the pain coming off of Fassbender just by
Mhm.
looking at him. Like, he didn't even
Yeah.
have to say anything a lot of time. You're just like, oh, like that hurts. Like that legitimately hurts.
Yeah, like the part with that really got me is the part where they first like wrap him up with the barbed wire and they're sitting there talking to him and she's like in the woods kind of
Hmm.
behind them and he sees her and he screams at her to run and I was like I just really felt that when
Yeah.
he was like run I was like oh go you know like,
Hmm. Well, yeah, and like you got to think about it too, because I think in that character's head, he probably knew that that was the last chance that he was gonna get
yeah.
to say anything to her,
Mhm.
and like, which choice are you gonna make? Are you gonna say the "I love you," or are you gonna say "Get the fuck out of here"? Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of an emotional pull because these two are very in love, even though they're like, that's
Mhm.
also one thing about the story is that you can tell their relationship is on a rocky situation, but the
Mhm.
love is there. And that's what
Yeah.
this whole date was for. This whole date was kind of to rekindle the feelings and like, get the blood flowing back in the relationship, which is common. Like you've been in a
Yeah.
relationship for a long ass time. Every now and then you got to do something like that.
Yeah.
And So you have that emotional part at the beginning, and then when they get there, you can tell that it's kind of like the tension's laying off. Like
Mhm.
they're enjoying this side by the lake, and then the thing happens, with the kids being loud and everything like that. And then it just rolls from there. Like it
Yeah.
completely snowballs. And I think the pacing in this movie was perfect. I
Yeah.
I
Agreed.
can't I can't think of a way that they would have been able to do it better as far as pacing goes. It feels like, the movie is a little over an hour and a half long. It's not quite 2 hours. But
Yeah. Yeah.
for me it flew by. Like I don't know
Oh,
how that
same.
was with you.
Yeah.
Same? Yeah.
Mhm.
Um there was a part in the movie specifically that I think was like one of the better tension scenes was
Mhm.
when they were by when was it that they were by the little by the outhouse. Like they were right there, the one where they were hiding and she was like trying to keep him alive in the
Oh,
water.
when they're underwater? Like,
Yeah.
when they're under that, like, pier thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
When they're underneath the pier. And like, she's trying to keep him alive, but also trying to keep his mouth closed so that he
Mhm.
doesn't make any noise. And like that part, because that's essentially when he dies. Like
Yeah.
right there is like that's the death scene. So that the reason I want to bring that scene up is because I think that scene, the way that death scene happened, I don't know what it was about it, but that scene hit me hard as hell
Yeah.
because like she's trying to save him and she knows that she's not going to be able to because like he's got the
Mhm.
wounds, they're in this nasty ass water. So
Yeah.
like he's going to get, fucking sepsis or worms or whatever the fuck's going to come out of this weird lake.
Leeches.
Yeah, yeah, like
Some
anything.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. Dude, I used to float on do inner tube floating on
Mhm.
the outskirts of our town. That was like one of our weekend things where it was just like all the high school kids would go there. And I
Yeah.
was remembering back when I was watching this because, like, specifically because of that scene. Dude, we swam in the grossest, just nastiest shit as kids. Like, this was not a regulated, like, park. This was just a fucking place that we went. We're like, that water looks gross. We should go ahead and swim in that.
Let's
Like,
jump it in. Yeah.
oh, dude. This place literally had leeches and it was known to have leeches and the kids were just like, yeah, yeah, and the kids were just
No.
like, fuck it, I'll just jump in there and swim around. Um we had one kid in high school straight up, he had a big ass leech right on his dick. Right, it totally
Oh
got
my
his
god.
dick. Yeah, he was
Like the
he was
worst
freaking out.
nightmare.
Yeah. All the other no, I mean obviously like we were kids in high school. Nobody helped him. They were like, "It's your dick. You gotta figure it out, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry, like, nobody's gonna pull a leech off your junk." Um, so yeah, Eden Lake, man, it's one of those movies that yes, it's bleak. Yes, it is. It's a tough watch. I mean, for
Mhm.
all intents and purposes. But I'm like you, I've recommended it to a lot of people. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's actually an important viewing, as far as
Mhm.
extreme horror films go. I think what they did with it was good. I think that the messages that they got across, like they did a good job of putting those messages in it. Because like it's not a
Mhm.
happy ending, like by any
No.
stretch of the imagination.
No.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like I remember when we on the podcast we all watched Speak No Evil, and that
I
movie
haven't seen
almost
that one.
you haven't seen it.
Mm-mm.
So there's the Danish or Dutch version.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's the Dutch version, but there's the original, and then like very shortly afterwards they had the American remake. Um,
Mhm.
the original is also very bleak, and by the end of it, you're like, it's a beautiful film, but you're furious. Like you're
Yeah.
very angry at the end of it. And that movie almost broke up our podcast. Because, like straight up, it almost did. And anybody that doesn't know the story, when that movie came out, Ryan watched it and he absolutely loved it for what it was because
Mhm.
it's like again, it's a beautiful film. It's very well made. And then Graham hated it
Graham didn't like
because
it. I was about to
he
say.
hated it. But he hated it in the sense that like he also agreed that it was a beautiful movie, but the
Mhm.
ending is so fucking bleak that you're just like fuck you. Like you're angry.
Yeah.
And Graham said that whole movie like fucked him up and like ruined his day and blah 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 blah. and Ryan was passionately on the other side. And it was like it was so funny because it's like I said, of all the movies, that was the one that almost broke us up because like that was a real fight. Like they were pissed. Um and this movie, like this is a very also divisive movie. Like, it's this is not
Mhm.
a movie you can just recommend to anybody. Unless you're,
Yeah.
fucked up like us, but like, I'll recommend it to anybody. Um but so with this movie now, like I don't remember exactly when it came out.
2008.
2008. Okay, I was
Yeah.
gonna say I thought it was like 2007, right around there.
Mhm.
But with that movie now, so now we're fucking 2025 now. How do you think the movie aged?
Perfectly.
You think so?
Perfectly.
Yeah,
It's still a very valid thing to be afraid of. Besides the cell phone not working, because cell phones will ping off of any tower if you dial 911 at this
that is
point.
true.
I don't know if that was true back then. Probably not.
No.
Um, Other than that, I
Yeah,
think it's still terrifying.
yeah. In the revisit, I agree with you. I think it is a movie that has aged quite well. Um, I think the effects in it are as good today as they would have been back in 2007, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, if Blumhouse remade it, it would probably be CGI blood. But like,
Yeah.
aside from that, I think it aged really well, and I think it's like I said, I think it's required viewing if you're an extreme horror person.
Mhm.
I think this is one if you haven't seen it, you definitely should. So do you have anything else that you wanted to add to it? Any other notes that you took about the movie?
Let's see. I think we covered pretty much everything that I wrote
Yeah, I mean it.
down. I had a friend back when I first moved out here, back about 12 years ago,
Yeah,
and she wanted so badly to learn about shock cinema. And I was like, I got you. And we watched
oh
everything.
shit.
Like, 'cause
Okay.
no one else would watch it with her. And this was one of the ones that she was like, "Wow, that fucked my day up." Like,
Yeah,
genuinely.
it's a day fucker, like for
Yeah.
sure. I have people every now and then, like friends of mine, they'll be like, I want you to give me a movie that'll fuck me up. And I'm like, I always ask them, I'm like, do you want your day fucked up, your week fucked up, or your month fucked up? Because there's levels to this shit. Like I can give you a movie that'll ruin your night, but I can also give you a movie you'll think about for the next year. Like it completely depends on what you want. And like I've given people Martyrs. I've given people Martyrs is one of the heavy hitters where
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, if you want to feel bad for a little while, this will do it. I remember when I told one of my friends, I said, pick a Gaspar Noé film and have fun. And I didn't even tell him which one to pick. I just said, pick one and have fun. And he came back to me the next day. He was like, "You motherfucker! I picked Irreversible." I was like, "That was your fault."
No!
It's like, "It was your fault. You drew the short straw, my friend."
Dude,
Um,
that's like the worst one.
yeah, yeah. So I told him too. I was like, "That was you. You fucked up there."
Yeah.
I was like, "You had like a 25% chance or something like that you were gonna pick that one, and you did." Um, and then he watched Climax after that, and he was like, "That one was way easier." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, yeah." I was like, "Irreversible's one of the ones that will fuck you up for a while."
Yeah.
Um, and Gaspar Noé is one of those ones also that like I think as far as like provocative filmmakers go, he's like
Mhm.
top of the heap. But also I've never seen a movie from him that I straight up dislike.
That's
Like
true. Yeah. I
like
never thought about it like
Irreversible
that.
is horrific, but it's a beautiful film.
It
Like,
is.
and I saw both cuts. I saw the regular one and I saw the straight cut. And the
Mhm.
straight cut of the movie, which is done in regular time, um,
Mhm. Are you
it's a
talking
worse.
about, like, it's linear?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. It's a way worse movie that way. Like,
Really?
yeah, it's not that it's like a bad movie, but comparatively, it's a way worse movie.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so I remember that because he was so pissed. He was like, "I fucking picked Irreversible." And I was like, "Well, I did warn you." Um,
I
So
did
yeah,
get to
this
see, did get to see Enter the Void in 35 millimeter a few years ago.
oh, I'm jealous of that.
That was really cool.
Um, one of my friends took acid and watched that movie, and
Ooh.
he was not ready for that, and also he didn't
No.
know what Enter the Void was about. I was just like, "Oh,
Oh.
sweetie, you took acid, not even mushrooms. You took full
Oh,
LSD." And
you
he
just
was like,
went
"Yeah." He was too. He was,
straight
yeah,
into the void, if you will.
yeah, dude. He was like, "Fuck, yeah, it was a bad choice." I'm like, yeah, it's definitely. When I used to do drugs, I took acid and I watched The Wall, from Pink Floyd.
Oh, the Pink
Also,
Floyd one.
also bad choice, super bad choice. I had a real bad day after that one. Like it was just that was a bad, bad idea.
Yeah, there was one time I took mushrooms and I was hanging out with my roommate Dan and he was like, "What do you want to watch?" And I'm like, "Suspiria." And he's like, "No." Straight up was like, "No."
Nope. He's like, nope.
And I'm like, "Please." He's like, "Dude, no."
You're not watching Suspiria on mushrooms. Like it's a
No. No
bad
one would
choice.
let me do it.
No, it's a bad choice. I remember my friend one time, my friend Sean, he was taking mushrooms with me for the first time, and he said that he wanted to get like the full effect out of the mushrooms. And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He goes, "I want to like see the stuff. I want to like feel the everything." And I was like, "All right, cool. Like, we can do that." And when the mushrooms started to kick in, at this point I was a pretty seasoned drug user. Like
Yeah,
mushrooms were just they were no big deal to me. But I
yeah.
could tell when they were kicking in, and he was kind of like, he was getting like looking around and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, they're starting to kick in. I was like, "You want to watch a movie?" And he was like, "Yeah, dude, let's watch a movie." So I'm such a piece of shit for doing this, but it was still fun. I put on the movie What Dreams May Come, the Robin Williams movie, and
Oh, no.
I knew that the emotional stuff wasn't gonna fuck with him, but I knew that the visuals were
Yeah.
totally gonna fuck with him. So like he starts like playing with the wall and shit, and I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like painting, and I was like, "Ha, you're so fucked later." Like in my head, I'm like, you're fucked, buddy. Like you are
There
absolutely
was,
fucked.
there was one time I had a friend in town, and then it was my roommate's friend that
Yeah,
I also am friends with,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Friend group.
And they took acid and they were like, "Hey, show us something really fucked up." And I'm like, "How fucked up? How fucked up are you?" And they were like, "We just took a bunch of acid." I was like, "I got you." I was like,
Would
"But
you
you can't
show?
be mad at me later."
I always
And I
love that
turned on
warning.
Society.
Oh, oh, the shunt.
Yeah, and they were
Yeah.
like, What's this movie about?" You know? And then, like, it gets to all that, and they were completely dead silent and just staring at the TV, and then when it ended, one of them just goes, "Man, what the fuck?"
That feels like an appropriate reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, just what the fuck? You know, so I actually have a question. So Suspiria, did you
Mhm.
watch the remake?
Yeah,
How'd you like it?
I liked it.
I thought it was an interesting take on it. Like, I
Yeah, I
mean,
did
I
too.
thought it was good.
I liked it. I actually have one of the nice one sheets that they had in the theater. I have one in my bedroom that's, like,
Oh,
framed.
nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, that was one that a lot of people shit on. And I think it's just because it was kind of like I think Suspiria is a very precious movie to a lot of people.
Mhm.
So like when they remade it, it was just like, how dare you, you know?
Yeah.
But it was really good. I thought it was actually a really good remake.
Yeah, I loved it.
Um, so the last movie that I recommended to a person to fuck their day up,
Mhm.
and you can tell me if this was rude because they said they just wanted their day fucked up, and I think I miscalculated.
Oh,
Like,
no.
I recommended the house that Jack built.
Oh, dude, how?
Yeah.
Oh, that'll keep you just the scene with the kid
Yeah.
alone
Yeah.
will fuck your shit up. I remember watching it. We watched it at, like, one of the early Ghoul Gang things back because it came out in what, 2018, 2019,
Yeah, yeah. Something like that.
something like that. So it was before the pandemic. So I was like, "Hey, I'll rent this movie. We can all hang out and watch it." And afterwards, we were just like, "Did he just kill all
Yeah.
those kids?"
Yeah, yeah.
Like, Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the last movie I recommended to somebody, I was actually my door guy. I was working last night and my door guy is going to school for filmmaking.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, "I really like fucked up indie movies." And I was like, "You know what you should watch? The Golden Glove."
Oh, that's the one about the serial killer.
Yeah, Fritz Honka.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
I thought it was Franz, but Fritz. Yeah, it's Fritz
Franz
Honk.
Fritz
Yeah, yeah.
something, I don't
Dude,
remember.
that guy's fucked. Like, and that movie's fucked up.
And he was like, "I just want to see something crazy that I'm never gonna forget." And I'm like, "You can smell this movie."
Yeah,
Like
yeah. That is definitely a movie where you like. There's a lot of sensory shit going on as you're watching that movie.
Yeah.
I remember when I saw the guy, the whoever plays him, I saw his face for the first time.
Oh,
For
I know.
whatever reason, I thought he was like a fucked up like Mark Ruffalo or something. Like when I saw his face on the cover the first time, I was
Yeah.
like, he looks like he looks like fucked up Ruffalo. Like straight up. Like
Have you seen him without the makeup on?
yeah, yeah. I saw him without the makeup on
Looks
finally.
totally normal.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. Just
Like
like nothing. Yeah. That movie's fucked up. I haven't seen that one in a little while actually.
yeah,
Um
that one, I was like, "Go watch that one or go watch, Found."
oh dude, Found is super fucked up. Um
The book's super fucked up too. I have the book that it's based off of.
well also the other movie that's like within it, Headless, way more
Mhm.
fucked up.
Really?
It makes Found look like a fucking children's programming. Like it's dude,
Damn.
Headless
I'll
is
have to look into it.
Headless is also very hard to find because it is like it's fucked. Like
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's one of those ones where like there's a couple of movies I've seen that are extreme films where they're just like pornography, where it's
Yeah.
just like, like the American Guinea Pig movies is one of them called Bouquet of Guts and Gore or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not a movie as much as it's a showcase of practical effects, which is cool.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, it's just like okay, there's no story here. Like it's literally
Yeah.
just
Literally
just
just
ick.
people's limbs getting hacked off.
Headless is almost that way, except that there is like an underlying story of what the slasher is. But yeah, Headless is super fucked. If you can find it, then by all means give it a watch once just to say you did. But I feel like that's one of the few movies where there's like no rewatchability. Like it just you watch it the first time, you're like, all right, I feel gross. Like
Okay. And
just
we're
like yep,
good.
yep.
Yeah.
It's like I've seen it once, it's in my brain now. This was fun. Do you think that you can handle the new kill list? The new questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've renamed the Sinister Six to the kill list, so it's just the same thing. Series of 6 questions. You answer them however you want to, short, long. It's just all opinion questions.
Sure.
There's no right or wrong answer, but we are very judgy. So that's that's how it works. But I will start you off with Chucky or Pinhead.
Pinhead.
I could have seen
Pinhead
that one.
easy.
Yeah, I could have
Um,
seen that one coming.
I have my earliest memory of life is watching Hellraiser with my dad and
Okay.
getting the absolute shit scared out of me.
Hell,
And
Hellraiser will do that.
yeah, yeah, especially to like a 3-year-old, 4-year-old.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
thanks, Dad.
Yeah, that one's a tough one for an early watch.
Yeah.
I want to say I was probably like 12 or 13 the first time I saw Hellraiser. Um my first movie that I saw that was a horror movie was The Exorcist, and I saw it way younger than I should have.
Oh,
Yeah, and that one definitely set me off. No, that's great. I could have seen Pinhead coming on that one.
yeah.
Alien or Aliens?
Mm, fuck. I think I gotta go with Aliens.
Okay. All right. That one we always get split on. Like
Yeah.
Ryan is an
It's
Aliens guy,
close.
Graham is
It's not
Alien.
it's not an instant,
Yeah.
one or the other.
Ryan is an Aliens guy because of the quotability of it and because
Yeah.
of the just like the like the pop culture impact that those characters had, and also like it's action horror at that point. Like, but
Yeah.
Alien is like a straight up claustrophobic, like,
Yeah.
horror. Um, and yeah, those ones always like those are interchangeable. So that's always an interesting answer from people.
Mhm.
If you could remake a movie, what would it be?
Mm.
Can be anything.
Eyes Without a Face.
Ooh, okay.
I think that would still be scary today. Um,
Yeah, I like
it's one
that.
of the it's one of the first movies that really unsettled me in a way that wasn't like gore violence, you know. I was
Sure.
just like, he's cutting people's faces off, like,
Like, ugh.
ah! And then you see like the daughter with the mask, and the only thing that moves is her eyes, and like the way they did it, perfect. If I could remake it and modernize it, I think it would still be really scary today.
Yeah. Who do you think would be a good director for that one?
Damn.
It's a tough question.
Yeah, that is a tough question.
Because of that one, I think with that movie, because it can't be somebody who is, it can't be somebody who's like a super modern director,
Yeah.
but also you can't go like the Robert Eggers route because he's like all period pieces,
Yeah.
even though he's a brilliant director.
Mhm.
I feel like Flanagan would do that one justice.
Ooh, yeah, yeah, that's a good answer. I
Yeah,
like
I
that
think
answer.
Flanagan would do that one.
Mhm.
If you could erase one movie from existence, what would it be? Could be
High
anything.
Tension.
Really?
I hate it. I wrote
Nice.
a whole article about how much I hated it.
Yeah. So that's an interesting one because that movie is also one of the ones that's like it's divisive. Like people are either
Yeah.
very into it or people fucking hate it. There's very few people that have a gray area. What part of it is what's the thing that's like the linchpin that makes you hate that movie so much?
So, I used to have to preface my answer, I used to have a column, a biweekly column for a Canadian screenwriting website. And the column's still up, the website's archived, it's
Yeah,
just money and everything, it didn't
sure.
work out. But it's still linked on my Instagram, my column, so you can read it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote about how to better discuss mental health in horror movies without demonizing it. And I think that one takes a lot of bad turns. I think it's inherently homophobic coming from
Yeah.
someone that's queer. And then I also think that, you know, the whole oh, how do I say this? Like,
You can spoil the twist, by the way.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, that was the hard part.
yeah, yeah.
So I think the whole like her being mentally ill
Yeah,
is as a twist is not really fair.
I can see
Like,
that.
like because a lot of times if you look up people that commit crimes, most of
Mm-hmm.
them are committed against mentally ill people rather than by mentally ill people. And I feel like someone has to advocate for that. JT, JT
Mm-hmm. Oh
obviously.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, he
JT
loved that
Haversack.
movie.
Yeah.
He loved that movie, and then I wrote that article, and he's like, "I hate it now. I hate it now."
Yeah.
He's like,
So
"Yeah, it sucks. I get what you're saying." And I was like, "Damn, okay, thank you."
yeah. Sometimes when you point out a thing about that, especially when it's a movie that's particularly popular, um, that can absolutely happen. Like you can absolutely flip people's,
Yeah,
POV on the movie just by pointing stuff out that's just like, oh yeah, that is fucked up. Like,
yeah,
yeah, that does make it. Yeah, and like the only thing I hated about that movie, and this is again watching it through the eyes of a fucking straight cis white guy, like I didn't pull out the homophobia, but when you actually bring it up, now that I think back, I'm like, oh yeah, that actually is that's a very clear vein throughout the movie.
yeah.
And also I thought the twist at the end was actually on top of like the fact that it's unfair, it
Mhm.
also just was a bad twist.
Yeah,
Because if you think back to the rest of the movie after the twist happens, you're like, oh, literally, this whole movie is unbelievable now.
Yeah.
Like there's so many things that happened in the movie to where it's like, no, that couldn't have been the same person. There's no
Yeah.
fucking way. Like absolutely not. There's a movie I think did it better, called What Keeps You Alive.
I've never seen it. I'll have to look
It's
it up.
a I want to say it's a Netflix original maybe, but
Mhm.
if it's not, I think it was on Netflix. But it's about a couple. It's about a lesbian couple that goes out to a cabin to kind of get away from the city. And this is not a spoiler, but one of the women turns on the other one,
Mhm.
and then there's a big the rest of the movie it's a big commentary on mental illness and like
Mhm.
psychopathy and a little bit of a split personality thing going on. But it's not like it doesn't exploit what it is, but
Mhm.
it is definitely like a commentary on it. You know,
Yeah.
like once the woman's motives start to come out and stuff like that, it becomes a thing where it's a big commentary on it. But I think it was a better version of what High Tension was trying to do.
Yeah.
Don't worry, the twist is not that she's the same person. It was just like it's definitely two people.
Well, it was the director's first movie as well, and I'll give him some grace on that part, but, like, come
That
on,
was
dude.
Alexander Aja, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually like his movies in
I do
general.
too. I
For
do
the
too, I
most
just
part.
didn't like that one.
No, and that makes sense. I mean, like again, that totally makes sense. And now that I think about it in hindsight, that's actually, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. His movies, man, his directing style is brutal.
Yeah.
Like when he did his version of The Hills Have Eyes, makes my fucking skin crawl. Like to this
I
day.
saw it I remember seeing it in theaters. I think it came out when I was, like, 13 or 14,
Yeah,
and, my mom took me to go see it, and she was like, "What the fuck?" You
I know,
know?
right?
And
Yeah,
because my mom was the mom that took everybody to the movies,
sure,
you know, she was like, because nobody else's parents wanted to watch this shit, so my mom
sure,
was like,
yeah,
"Let's
yeah.
go."
Yeah, that movie's rough. Like
Yeah.
I say rough, but I mean it in a good way. Like as far as remakes
Mhm.
go, it's one of the better ones, and it actually makes the original less fucked up. Like in
Mhm.
hindsight, because like this one is massively fucked up, but they did a good job of it. Um, all right, so last two questions.
Alright.
The fifth question, I'm gonna go Midsommar or Hereditary.
Me personally,
Yeah.
Midsummer.
Okay. All right. I'm always curious about that one because, Ari Aster's a great director, but those are two vastly different movies. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm always curious about that. And then the last one, basement or attic. It's however you interpret that.
Basement.
So are you escaping to the basement or is the basement the scarier place?
The basement is the scarier place.
Okay, yeah, I'm the same with that.
Yeah.
Basements are terrifying. Basements is where monsters are. Attics is where like doll parts and Christmas lights are. Like I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not worried about the attic. I'll jump out of a window. Fuck it. Like break an
Yeah.
ankle. It's fine. Yeah, yeah. Basements stink. They're moldy. They got weird shit in them. Like, yeah, I don't like it.
People can
I
be
don't like.
buried down there.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Basements are famously not good places for you to be in horror films.
Yeah.
Uh, like really not. Awesome. So you killed those answers. Very cool. Always good to run repeat guests through the new ones. So we're gonna do some recommendations on this. I'll start and then we'll end on you. For streaming, I'm gonna recommend the new album from The Warning.
Mhm.
And they're a great all-female like pop punk band. And the new album is called Keep Me Fed. They
Mhm.
fucking rule. Big fan of them. For theaters, go see Sinners. It just dropped this weekend.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. One of my friends is actually seeing it today.
yeah, so like it's Michael B. Jordan. He plays twins, and it's a like plantation era period piece
Mhm.
vampire film. And
Ooh.
that's not a spoiler. The vampire part
Yeah.
is in the trailer. But it's so fucking good. Like
Mhm.
I was lucky I got to see it like a week early. And it's one of those movies that like it's coming out during Easter weekend, so you never know how it's going to perform, but fuck, it's good. It's really really
Nice.
good. So,
Hell yeah.
definitely go see that. For streaming, go on to Shutter right now. Lucio Fulci's movies are on there right now, a whole bunch of them.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they just dropped on there within the last like week or so. So go on there and just get yourself some Italian horror. There's a whole bunch on there. And for physical media, I'm going to recommend a really gory independent clown horror called 100 Tears.
Oh, I've seen that one.
Yeah. So this one's fun because it's like it's definitely indie. Like it's very low
Yeah.
budget, but the killer clown it's just a showcase of practical effects is really all it is. Like it's if you're a gore hound and you like practical effects, that's what this movie is. There's a
Mhm.
little bit of a story, but it's not really meant to
Not
have a whole
really.
shitload of
Yeah.
a story. It's just, you know, guy escapes from a mental hospital, dresses up as a clown and just starts killing the fuck out of people. But it's very gory. Like it's guts and heads and splits and like all sorts of them. But like I said, for practical effects work, it's fantastic. So if you're somebody that's into the makeup and into all that stuff, that's the movie for you. You can watch it on Tubi, and then Unearthed Films released the Blu-ray. I want to say like a couple months ago. So
Mhm.
it's still relatively new out on the market as far as Blu-ray goes. But Alyssa, what do you got for the people?
Recently I watched one that totally blew my mind, and it's called The Coffee Table. It's a
Mm,
Spanish movie.
movie's fucked up.
Um, I didn't know what to expect, and
Not
I
that.
won't ruin it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but, like, it was like a couple buys a coffee table, and then a series of unfortunate events unfolds. I'm like, "What could possibly happen?" And then I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, shit.
Yeah, yeah. These
Okay."
unfortunate events are way worse than Lemony Snicket's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good lord. What a tense movie.
yeah.
And then, there's one I'm waiting for it to come out. Maybe you can tell me if it's out. Do you have
Okay.
Mubi?
Yeah,
Mubi? You
yeah,
do?
yeah.
Is Above the Knee on there?
I can literally look that up right now.
Because 'Cause I've been recommending this movie. I saw it, I reviewed it for Morbidly Beautiful last year, and I, um, I loved it.
Let me see if it is out yet. No, because it came out on yeah, so it came out at Beyond Fest,
Yeah.
which if you look up above the knee movie,
Mhm.
the third result is your article. So, um, looks like you gave it a 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah,
Um, so I'm not seeing that it's out yet, but that also just could be from what I'm looking at here.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I've heard good things about it.
It got me, like, it's so intense, like, it's just basically about this guy who has a mental illness where he feels like his leg is not his and it needs to be removed,
Oh,
and the whole movie is him trying to figure out how to remove his leg without dying or being put in a mental hospital,
oh,
and he makes a friend who has the same illness. And that's as far as I will go in that direction. But it's
that is an interesting concept. I like that.
oh, it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I still think about it and I read it like or read it. I watched it like shit like almost a year ago.
Wow.
So,
Okay. I'm gonna
yeah.
keep my eyes out for that. No, it's not. I just checked to make sure it's not out on movie yet, but
Okay.
looks like it's coming out soon.
I definitely
Um,
want to buy a copy of it.
yeah, it looks good. That sounds great too.
Mhm.
And yeah, morbidlybeautiful.com. You are a writer on there. You have multiple reviews and shit, and I've
Mhm.
seen lots of that stuff. So if anybody is curious about that, you can go on to Morbidly Beautiful and just look up your name. Did you have anything else to recommend? Any music or anything?
Um I recently got into this this band called 156 Silence.
Okay,
They're almost like it says they're metalcore, but they're not, like, very, like, chuggy, breakdowny kinda
sure.
thing. Um, and I really like hardcore music, so I'm
Okay.
I'm enjoying their album People Watching.
Okay, very nice.
Mhm.
There's been a lot of bands that have come out, especially like here recently. They're like I feel like deathcore and metalcore is getting like this kind of resurgence of bands that are coming out and getting, a
Yeah.
little bit more out in the open.
Mhm.
Um there's a band called House of Protection that I'm a
Mhm.
big fan of. It's two guys that were a part of a band called like Fever 333 or something like that. And
Mhm.
they splintered off of it and it's just two dudes now. And it's like it's really cool. It's like very Rage Against the Machine vibes is the best way
Nice.
to put it. Like it's
Hell
very cool
yeah.
stuff. But yeah, that's great. That's awesome stuff. So thank you very much for that. You
Yeah.
guys check them out and like check Alyssa out. And if you're in Austin, go buy Kick Butt Coffee. You never know when you're gonna see her there.
Yeah.
And this is for the Patreon people, so Army of the Goddamned, I'm not gonna read your names off because if you're listening to this a week earlier, then you're already part of it. You need to tell your friends to go to patreon.com/AGHP666. You can support us for everything from $1 up to $20, and everybody gets the same thing. It's just, your way of saying thank you to us, and we put these episodes out for you, and we're gonna be doing a lot more stuff on Patreon throughout the year. And aside from that, everybody listening around the world, we love you guys everywhere from the United States all the way to the Turks and Caicos Islands, which is crazy that we have listeners on the Turks and Caicos
Oh,
Islands.
damn.
Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
like we have like United Arab Emirates, like it's crazy that we have listeners all over the world. So thank you guys.
Mhm.
Like we do this to spread the word of horror. And like I said in the earlier part of it, we're all horror fans. We all need to do this together. The world is crazy, shit's wild right now. So if you guys are going through anything and it's in your head and the brain ghosts are getting a little bit too loud, reach out to us, shoot us a message. We
Yeah.
may not have the answers, but we got ears and we got shoulders for you to lean on. So we'll listen. We'll let you get it out of your system because we need you here. So we want you to stay here. We want you to enjoy horror. We want you to listen to AGHP, and we want you to support all of these awesome people that we have on the show. And in the meantime, what you guys should do is start some fires and break some glass. You guys rule. Have a good one.
Hell yeah.